you have Rotus Oddiri, the man that had birthday that didn't invite us.
It wasn't like
and
that.
It's, no. And he's coming to do business reports. So what are you doing? In fact, we should stage a workout on this.
No, don't walk out.
Go ahead.
There's cake.
I don't care.
Rotus's birthday was on Saturday, the 19th of February. He did give us food on Friday.
Exactly. See, there were some implications.
He didn't invite us.
No,
Don't worry.
He was saying you don't have a social life.
There's
He
cake.
said,
That's not what I
social
said.
life.
You're right.
Oh yeah, let's start.
You're right.
The producers will cut my time. Good morning, everybody, and good morning, our viewers.
There's nothing good about it.
Let's start with what to watch this week. Very big week ahead. Lots of earnings to look forward to. Lee Auto.
You cut your hair.
No, we're growing the hair back. Lee Auto is a Chinese electric vehicle maker. Domino's Pizza also coming out with its earnings later today. Zoom will be putting out its earnings. Zoom did very well during the COVID pandemic because a lot of people were home. Since that time, its earnings have been sliding. Tuesday, Lucid is an American EV company. They make luxury electric vehicles. Home Depot, like Walmart, they are a barometer for the U.S. economy when it comes to retail and home purchases and so on. AMC, which is a theatrical chain, will be releasing their earnings on Tuesday. Wednesday is the big one. Nvidia, everyone looking forward to what Nvidia is going to post with us, and then how Jensen Huang responds to the threat of DeepSeek and so on and so forth, and then their sales outlook. Salesforce, the tech company, they're releasing theirs. eBay, who still shops on eBay? eBay will be still releasing their earnings Wednesday. Thursday, Dell Technologies. Then we get Warner Brothers Discovery, streaming movies, see how they're doing. Friday, PCE data. Asia markets were pretty mixed bearish this morning because the U.S. markets were fell on Friday, so they continued. Japan is closed for a holiday, but as you can see there, China down, Korea down, India down, Hong Kong down. Hong Kong was the story of last week with technology stocks. The ASX 200, funny enough, in Australia, which was down all of last week, picked up today. From there, we moved to the U.S. markets again, just to remind people, bearish sentiment is kind of turning. The markets are worried, consumers are worried. There was a sentiment index that came out on Friday from Michigan. People are worried that inflation is going to rise. They're worried about Trump's policies. We'll see if it was just a one-off. That worst SF is worse so far in 2025. That's the Dow dropping by 1.69%. S&P 500, NASDAQ all falling on Friday. I think you already touched on Germany, but that is, of course, the big story for Europe. This is the largest economy in Europe. Talked about, I think Adefemi already touched on this, but CDU, CSU with Frederick Merz said to be the new chancellor. They had 28.6% of the results. AFD, the far-right party that Elon Musk was supporting, they came in second, doubled their vote share. Olaf Scholz, SPD, the Social Democrats, 16.4%, worst performance in a century. Then the Greens and the left, they both crossed the 5% threshold, but BSW, FDP, and others did not, which means that Frederick Merz doesn't really have to work with too many interests in this coalition that he's going to put together. The business community weighed in. The two big unions, the Association of Home Businesses and also IG Merla, which is IG Metall, excuse me. Christian Berner, she was appointed the first female leader of this large industrial union in 2023. Said industry and employees do not have months to wait for clear prospects, meaning that the coalition has to work very quickly. Many industrial companies, especially in the energy-intensive industries and in the supply industry, are up to their necks in water. The Russia-Ukraine war really hit Germany hard because Germany was getting lots of cheap energy from Russia. She says competitive energy costs, as I just mentioned, the ramp-up of electromobility and investment in education, road, railway, and digitization. I'm going to touch on digitization on Nigeria in a moment. Should be at the center of a new German government's plans. Also, the head of the Association of, I think it's Family Businesses, Mary Christine Osterman, president of the Association of Family Businesses, said the result is a clear mandate for an economic turnaround. Without better economic policy, Germany is threatened with dramatic economic and political conditions. Again, Germany has been, as they say, the sick person of Europe. Deindustrialization will accelerate. The wave of insolvencies will become even greater, and the scale of family-owned businesses will continue to increase. We are heading dangerously towards the tipping point. So they really have to move quickly. And I hear Merz wants to move from 3 months of talks, that is negotiations between parties for about 2 to 4 weeks. Also, the document that's put out, the policy document, the last one was 144 pages. He wants to move it to about 2 or 3. So big issues he's facing now, the debt break, particularly with increase in defense spending, with Trump wanting Europe to spend more money. He has to address that. They might have to amend it to allow Germany to spend more on defense. He's a businessman, so he wants tax cuts, he wants deregulation. There's a combustion energy regulation presently in Germany that the automobile industry is not in favor of. Energy costs, as I mentioned, with Russia, Ukraine, then immigration, of course, and then how he deals with tariffs. Although I hear his speech was very strong yesterday, saying that Germany is going to, really going to worry much about America. They're going to move out on their own. Okay, to Nigeria, as I mentioned, this digitization thing. The Kaduna 46th International Trade Fair took place. The Dangote Group was there. Faptina Abdulrahman, who is a senior advisor to the Dangote Group president, talked about how they are embracing technology, they're digitizing their manufacturing and sales processes and deploying automated smart systems. Which brings me again, I just mentioned it with Germany. The fuel stations need to be automated in our country. If you can go to an ATM at 3 a.m. in the morning and pull out money, you should be able to go to a fuel station and purchase your fuel. Maybe I'll personalize it because I went out really late last night and I didn't buy fuel, right? The point here is that these fuel stations, the lights are still on. They are still paying, whether you go for solar or you're using a grid or a generator. Even when they close down, the lights are still on. They are still paying bills and they cannot essentially make any sales throughout the night while they are closed. You should be able to drive up to a petrol station, take out your card, an automated fuel pump, put your card in, pay for your fuel, and leave. Now, you see this gentleman, I'm actually going to do a cost-benefit analysis of this thing. You see that gentleman there? His uniform costs money. His salary costs money. He goes home, there's a number of staff that they rotate. The energy companies, at least the downstream players in the sector, would save a lot of money if they completely automated. Nigerian downstream players, on a per capita basis, pay more to run their fuel stations than other countries in other nations. It is you can migrate them elsewhere, and the thing is, they don't want to come and talk to me because they don't. The NLC would jump on them and say you're trying to fire workers. But at the very base, if you can't talk about automation in a Dangote Group or all these other bigger companies, I'm not mentioning the fact that at the very base case, fuel stations need to automate.
No, I know.
It's a profit-based thing. You're shaking your head.
And of course, you brought this up and I didn't agree with you.
Why?
No, especially so. Okay, problem is, one of the problems with Rotus was Davos. So once he came back from Davos and he bought fuel in the middle of the night, it thrilled him so much. But you see, this Rotus also forget that there's a cultural problem because there are some things that I can easily get to do in Nigeria that I can't get to do abroad. Yeah. Have you tried going to look for a business center that can do everything for you together in the UK? It's very difficult to get. So Rotus also forget there are cultural conventions and all of that. But I also get it, the fact that it's talking about the cost. But what I want to talk about is, yes, I'm happy Frederick Merz in Germany is saying all of these things. Because
the euro appreciated, by the way. Sorry, I didn't mention that. The euro strengthened on the results.
Because it's very pro-business. Makes a lot of money. He's a multi-millionaire too. But he's got 2 private jets for the fun of it. And he's an aviator. He flies himself. But what are these things? Germany has been the sleeping man of the economy. They need to open up the economy more. What are these things? They need to make a lot of capital injection into businesses. A lot of red tape and bureaucracy has also stifled businesses. I mean, look at the climate change saga and how emission control affected VW, one of the biggest companies out of Germany, Volkswagen. So they did a lot of productivity in the economy. The economy has not done very well. The Eurozone has not done very well. So, because in the end, and Professor Killer, you were very correct when you said, the problem with the left is that they have gone to many esoteric issues where they forget that the most important thing voters will always look at is the plight of the economy. That's just it.
And that was
the economy was tanking under all our shows. And that's why when he compounded the problem by going to sack the economy minister, it was toast already. So the SDP couldn't consolidate on that. So the economy, I think it was Carney was saying, is the economy stupid? No, it's not stupid.
So we see in Europe that Europe and America, economy has been big on the table and has actually been the decider. Whether you go to the US, Canada, France, and now Germany, immigration and economy was actually the 2 top things that people were looking at. And that's why you would see in places where they had a lot of conservatives, you would hardly see any other votes but going to either the far right or going to the CDU. But let me talk about this proposal and why I disagree. I was shaking my head, and the first time you brought it, I shook my head. 2 things I'll just say very quickly. Number one is that you can call me socialist. I mean, I know you're a capitalist, but when we talk about jobs, this is not the time to start looking for ways to cut jobs when we're looking for ways to increase jobs. It is anti what this administration is pushing for. It is anti what we need right now in Nigeria, even if it is the 30,000 or now 70,000 naira minimum wage that these people are going home with, that's enough. And I say this because your fuel station is not your problem. When you're talking about digitization, let us start with the our secretariat, with the government offices. How many government agencies have a website or do not still carry paper files from office to office? Right. Let's start with that first. If you're talking about digitize, I agree with you that we need to digitize things. Let's digitize our local governments where we have certificates, death certificates, birth certificates still in paper form. Let us digitize the process. Let us digitize government offices before we start talking about taking the jobs of private individuals. Then the second thing, and I'll end here, is the fact that the same issues why they are not opening at night is the same thing why they will not be able to open, as long as they don't have security on lock. Because if it's human beings that they are addressing or going to steal the parts, have you not heard them stealing road? They will still do the same thing. Not the fuel.
How do you see people operate your ATM, take money, destroy the ATM?
Why are they stealing ATMs? ATMs are around by themselves. They're automated.
And deal with the government.
You can do it all at once. You can do that same. Prof,
that's not the basic.
I agree with Rotus that you can do it all at once. But I also think Rotus has people like Rotus who advocate this, they have the duty of doing what you promised to do, which is a cost-benefit analysis. I do not think the operators of the company are so afraid of labor or IO that they're not doing this. I think they're doing the analysis, and if you want to help them, it will be welcome to see it done. These things can be done together. The world should be careful of plutocracy. This idea of rich people getting into politics is not as good as it seems. The other thing that seems counterintuitive, and I know this is unpopular, but history and facts are with me, is that when people keep saying they want more people to go and vote, I've always said we don't need it. Every time the number of voters goes very high, we always come out with strange results. The fringe, the unpopular thing, and I want our viewers to think about it. If you look at what trends on social media and other things, they're always extreme things. The normal life that allows us to love, trade, and learn safely is in the middle. It is never made of so many crowds. So we should be careful of that.
Yeah, they are what is it now? The participation in the election was really high. 85%.
Every time it's high, it's always dangerous.
No, but it's always the case. It's better. At least you want election participation to be high here. But it's also because people trust the system. Right. The reason why people don't come out to vote in Nigeria, they don't trust the system. That's why voter apathy is there.
Thank you so much, Rotus.
Did you hear that they still ballot boxes in Germany?
And happy birthday once again.
Thank you.
Happy birthday once again. But you will not succeed.
One party, one everything.
Food off the table of many Nigerians. Thank you so much.